Okay, my lovelies, tonight's tale is actually about where I grew up, Aspen Grove, and about a certain particular ghost in a certain particular room. In the mansion, the house was built in the mid-1700s, and the original entrance to the house was where the music room was. And when I was a child growing up, that music room always had a sense of a very ever-present person there, a young man in his 20s. And as a child, I inherently kind of knew his story. And I didn't understand why I knew it, and I didn't think it was unusual that I should know it. I didn't really understand what psychics were. I didn't have any exposure to that sort of stuff, and all I knew was that there had been this man who was there during the Civil War when it was a hospital, and he was dying, and he was missing his right hand, I think it was, and his left leg, and his lung had been punctured, and he had some kind of terrible injuries to the side of his face, and he was dying, and the doctor who was attending to him there was very weary, and he knew that this patient was going to die, and he knew that there was nothing that he could do for him, and he also didn't have anything to adequately anesthetize him. He knew the man would have to be basically put down, and he was very tired, and he walked from the room, and a woman in her middle ages who was attending as a nurse there, I'm not sure if she was a real nurse, but she was helping out, she felt pity on the doctor, and she went into that music room and she put a pillow over this man's face and finished him off. But there was always a sense when I was growing up that this man was still in that room, and he was watching us, and that was what kind of interested me the most, I think, was just knowing that he seemed to be cognizant of us, and I was certainly cognizant of him. I could feel his eyes on us. I could feel him in that room all the time. And, you know, my brothers and my dad would have people over, watch Redskins play football, and they'd scream and they'd yell, and, you know, we would watch, you know, Christmas specials on the TV, or we'd have piano lessons on the piano or whatever. But that music room always had this presence in it, and I always knew it. And when I would walk into the room, I would sort of recognize it by looking at that spot where I kind of knew he was. But there was one time when I was home alone, and I felt his eyes on me very intensely, and I didn't like the emotion that came off of it. It felt very much like he resented me somehow, or was jealous, or envious, or something. But I got really tired of the feeling. I was trying to watch a movie, and I could just feel him right there, and the whole side of my body where he was standing was very chilled, and goosebumps, and the whole thing. And finally I realized I can't. You know, sometimes I could absolutely pretend something wasn't there, but this time I could not. I felt my own threat level go up. So I looked up in the air about where I thought he stood, and I looked and I said, "I know you're there, and you know I'm here. Could you just turn around and not stare at me?" And nothing happened, and I still felt him there. And I tried to watch TV for a few more minutes, and then I just thought, oh, screw it. And I looked at that spot again, and I said, "Get the hell out of here." And I heard 3 slams in a row. And I got up, and I rushed from the room, and I went through the house looking for what this was. I found that the doors that are always open, there was French doors that went to the library, and they were slammed shut. The display case that had all the Civil War relics in the art room was wide open and up against the wall. And when I went into the kitchen, 2 of the cabinets were wide open. And I realized that within a fraction of a second, all 3 of these spots in the mansion had all been activated by this one coincidence that I just happened to yell at this guy to get the hell out of there. So after that, I still felt him in the room, but I never felt that sort of intense feeling of somebody staring at me and thinking bad things. I got the feeling every now and then something looked at me, but I didn't feel any more that sort of envy or frustration or whatever it was that he was feeling. So I think standing up to him must have made some effect, but it didn't get rid of him. And I'm going to guess he's probably still there.